Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to a very exciting episode of Juicy Scoop. I have Emmy Award winning, Golden Globe winning, former office mate of beloved podcaster Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop. You might know him from his humble beginnings as a farmer. Then he went on to UC Berkeley and became a full-blown lawyer before he realized that he should really be a stand-up comic / model actor, showrunner, producer, all over intelligent delight. Welcome back to Juicy Scoop, Guy Branum.
Great to be back. Excited to be here.
Was that not the best intro you've ever gotten on a podcast as a guest?
It was a really good interview. I would say possibly the best. And also, I love when you get brought up on stage by somebody who really knows you, when you get introduced by somebody who really knows you.
Right, of course.
It's nice because you know where it's coming from.
A lot of people love an unboxing. Right
Yes.
now we're seeing, if you're on TikTok, there's a lot of unboxing of people saying, here's all the stuff I got from the, I'm not even going to say it, but apps where you can get fake bags.
Yes.
And they unbox all of it. But you have something that we want to unbox.
Yes.
So bring it out.
Two very exciting things. I have my Golden Globe.
So it comes in a beautiful box.
It comes in a beautiful box. I did not get to go to the Golden Globes because...
And this is not from China. This is a real Golden Globe.
This is a real one.
Okay.
Okay, so it comes in a little box and then you open it up.
Can you take it out?
Of course.
And is it really as heavy as everyone says?
It's so heavy.
Oh my God, it really is. Have you weighed it? Do you know what it is?
No, I looked it up online to see which one weighed more.
I've done my speech so many times. I'm just going to do it one more time real quick.
Okay, please.
Wow. This is if Golden Globes did podcasting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. This is really heavy. I just thought this was a little thing I was going to do on the side so that someone would know I was at a comedy club. I didn't know that it would be as big as this, but I was just a little girl who was raised in the hills of Woodland Hills and south of the Boulevard of Ventura. And to think that I could make it here in Hollywood, if I can do it, anyone can do it. 818 till I die. Woo! I'm going to work this out. Thank you. Oh, which way do I go? Oh, hi. They never know which way to go.
At the Golden Globes, you have a Miss Golden Globe who is...
Right, a Nepo.
They used to always be Nepos. I feel like they're not Nepos now.
Leave it
Should
out.
we just leave them out?
Yeah, leave it out, of course.
And then
okay.
The much larger box of...
Wow. And this is for your writing on...
This is for my writing on Hacks. Yes. I've never gotten one where I got to give this speech. This is my Emmy.
Oh. Well, would you like to give your speech here? Wow, this is really beautiful. Wish I was this thin. Oh, wow. Yeah, when I set out to have this career as a podcaster, I didn't know that it would be in the Emmy category. But thanks to my award-winning episode. I'm going to imagine that they do episodes for Best Podcast Guests, and this is going to be the episode.
Yes.
So I did not know when I texted Guy, we're very professional, and said, would you like to talk about Housewives on Monday, April 21st, that it would result in this, but it did. This is for you, Mom and Dad. Okay. Actually, let's give your speech. Let's give your speech for winning.
Okay. Oh, wow. I mean, this is so amazing. I just want to say thank you to everyone from the staff of the show, to the creators, Paul, Jen, and Lucia. I wouldn't have been able to do this without all of you. And we won.
You're not going to thank anybody else?
I would like to thank my inspirations, who are... Rabbi Hillel for teaching me to value the importance of all other people.
Oh, that's nice.
Mohandas K. Gandhi, who taught me the importance of peace, and my former office mate, Heather McDonald.
Thank you.
What is your middle name? I forgot your name.
Heather Ann
Heather Ann
McDonald.
McDonald.
But that's fine. Ham. It spells ham.
Yeah, yes.
This episode of Juicy Scoop is sponsored by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. When it comes to planning travel, it's really specific to what you need for that specific trip. So whether I'm going with the whole family and now I have young adults and maybe they're bringing a special someone, we need to find a place where we can all feel like we can get together but have our separate time alone. That's why I love Booking.com, Booking.yeah. They have a huge variety of options from hotels to vacation rentals, and I'm always able to find something that fits my specific needs and my family's specific needs. Find exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com, Booking.yeah. I know getting your hands on Ozempic or Wegovy might be difficult. You don't know where to start. Maybe you're negotiating with your insurance provider. Will they cover it? Where do I go for it? That's what I love about RHOBH. All you have to do is submit your insurance card and RHOBH will take care of the rest. No paperwork, no negotiating, no waiting on hold. Go to RHOBH.co/Juicy Scoop for your free insurance check. That's RO.co/Juicy Scoop to see if your insurance covers GLP-1s for free. Go to RHOBH.co/safety for black box warning and full safety information about GLP-1 medications. Amazing accomplishment. Beautiful. Do you have a fireplace mantle at your home?
No. So what I did was I spent a lot of time figuring out how I could get them tastefully in the back of my Zoomscape. So
very smart.
What I did is, because the box for the Emmy is so large,
yes,
I put that on top of a bookcase I had, and then I put the two of them there. Out. And then the Writers Guild Award is there as well.
Amazing.
But we just got nominated for Peabody. And so if I win the Peabody, I think, move the Writers Guild Award to a less significant place.
Amazing. Now let's talk about some other big news in the world. Our Pope, Pope Francis, has died.
Yeah.
Just after he was part of the Easter Mass, which is the biggest day. If you're not Catholic or Christian, Easter is a bigger holiday than Christmas because we don't really know in the Bible when he was born exactly, but we know we have historical artifacts of his death. So rising from the dead is a bigger thing. Now, also a lot of people say, why do we say he is risen? Grammatically, it should be he has risen. I say he has risen. But then I've seen that it's because it transcends time. And that's why people say he is risen.
It really is sort of like one of the core concepts of Christianity that, there is the possibility for eternal life through God. And so his rising is not a thing that happens and is done, but is something that is like continuous throughout all of Christianity. I thought Pope Francis, I'm not Catholic, I am Jewish, but I thought he was an amazing pope, and I thought the work he did to open up and be inclusive of people who had been long forgotten, to trying to understand a place for women in leadership in the church, to trying to understand a place for queer people in the church.
Amazing.
And, there were definitely gay people who were like angry and like, that's not enough. And,
but it was a step in the right direction.
Pope is still a pope. A step in the right direction. At this moment in time, understanding that steps in the right direction are better than a lot of steps in the wrong direction. And
he had like this fun history of like, he rode a motorcycle. At one time, he was a bouncer at a nightclub. He lived somewhat of a bit of more of a life than like going right into the seminary at 13 or whatever.
Right.
And I think that's what made him more relatable to more people. He was Argentinian.
Yeah.
So he, so now we get to the place of who is next, which is always I want to say the only time I came close to a pope was in the 80s. I think it was Pope John Paul. I don't remember. And he came into like Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
And he was in the Pope Mobile and he went through like Alvera Street and my Catholic all-girl high school. We got a bus and we all went and it was a lottery. Like everyone wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I had I had a camera and I took out the film to go to the 1 hour photo and I left a purse in one of the classrooms and it was stolen.
Oh no.
So I never got those photos.
Oh, that's
terrible.
And
I always thought how crazy that the only time, knock on wood, I've ever had something stolen like that, the Pope pictures were in there.
But you did get to see the Pope.
I did. I got to see the mass at the Dodger Stadium, and then I got to see the. I mean, I can see it in my head go by, in the Pope Mobile to protect him from like bullets, and so now they get together and they see like who's a contender, and it's a lot of discussion of like who could take us to the next place. So of course, some are going to say this one's too liberal, too progressive.
Right.
This one is too wants the masses to go back looking Latin. Who knows?
Right.
But we've never had an American.
Yeah.
Or where English is their first language. And
there were a couple of English popes before, at least one before the Reformation.
Oh, see, I knew you would know that.
Yes.
But what do you think about would it be crazy for the world if they did choose an American cardinal?
I mean, it would be really interesting. I don't see it happening politically, but it would be, especially at this time, because America has done so much in the last couple of months to sort of like remove itself from the rest of the world. It would be really interesting to see what would happen.
If one was like, what if the one like there's like I think there's one in New York that is very beloved. He's the one that has like the Catholic like dinner and like Jim Gaffigan hosted it.
Yes, Thou Smith dinner, yeah.
I think Timothy Dolan or something. Like, what if he was like up for it and now he's like, now I'll probably not get it, like with everything that's going on. But the Pope did have a bunch of comedians come, and that all got to meet him. Julia Louis-Dreyfus,
I think
Chris
Wanda
Rock.
was there.
Oh, Wanda was there? That's cool. And of course, Jim Gaffigan, he's like in there. And no Heather McDonald, but it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. So anyway, we'll see. But, he was 88. He was sick. But people do think, was it kind of a spiritual thing that he died the day after Easter?
No, I mean, that he was that sick and he showed up to perform on his big day. And it's a little bit like Bob Saget dying in the hotel room after his show.
Or me fainting after saying Jesus loves me the most.
Yes.
Just saying. There's a correlation.
He performed his heart out and he left it all on the stage, and I respect that. But you saw Conclave, right?
I have not seen it.
Heather, how have you not?
Because I'm like, I know I have to. I'm going to see it now.
Best,
I definitely want to see it.
It's the best. It's the bitchiest.
Because it's about them choosing the next pope. Now everyone's going to watch it. Which if I was the producer of Conclave, I'd be somewhat excited about this.
You know that the producers of Contagion made like so much money in early 2020, right?
Oh, yes.
Because everyone was rewatching it. But first of all, Papal Conclave is like the ultimate reunion show. It is basically like getting everybody together and then hashing out what happened on the Pope Francis season of Christianity.
I remember how I would always do that lady that was on like Montel Williams, that psychic.
Yes.
What was her name? That would like take her nails and write it like this. And she was wrong about a lot of things.
It was the Long Island Medium, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Long Island Medium. It was this other.
I just remember you were always picking things out of your teeth.
She was always like this. And then people would ask her questions and she would get a lot of things wrong. Like, but one of the things I remember she said is that our next pope is going to be black. And I was always wondering that, but our next pope wasn't black, but our next president was. And so I was always like, I wonder if she was seeing something, but who knows? Whatever.
I think one of the big contenders is a dude from Ghana.
That'd be cool.
An Italian guy who's the Secretary of State now, who they think, and I forget who and there's a liberal candidate from the Philippines that is like the odds-on favorite right now.
Well, there's a lot of Catholic Filipinos, so I think that would be. Anyway, so there we go. Rest in peace. Beautiful life he's led. Okay. Now let's talk about, I've talked a lot about the women going to space. And Gail did an interview where, she's still shocked by the backlash.
Yes.
There were people, content creators, that put stuff together of why they don't really believe that they even went. And I thought, how are they thinking this? Especially because I get why people don't think we went to the moon, okay?
Right.
And maybe we didn't, or maybe they reenacted the moon for TV. Who knows what it was?
Yes.
But I was like, I don't really think in this day and age they try to fake it. Well, these are the compelling reasons why people think it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you the reasons. One is that the door was thinner than a door on a plane.
Oh.
Okay, so they're like, this is a door on a plane. Why was the door so thin on that thing? Now, we know the person tried to open it. Then he had to act like he had a screwdriver to open it. Jeff Bezos. So I thought, well, someone just opened it. Okay, the other thought is, normally these little pod things fall in the ocean, and it seemed to have like fallen very hard, why was there no like, EMTs kind of waiting on site for if someone like might have hit their heads or something, even though they were, I assume, strapped when they were coming down.
Yeah.
So those were the reasons. I'm not saying I believe they went up there. The reasons they're not wearing helmets and all that is because they didn't go to the place where you need the oxygen in the helmets, correct?
I mean, no, they're just going up. I mean, saying it's space is like they just went up so high in the atmosphere.
That's what Peter was saying.
That
it's
you
not
kind
really...
of are weightless. And it's like, yes, things probably didn't have the precautions that they had, when we were doing this in the 60s, because a private company is doing this and isn't going to waste a bunch of money on it. I don't know. I think America is torn apart by everyone having a conspiracy theory about everything.
True that. But this person did say this was pretty funny. We are supposed to believe that leftover tent from Coachella with the gas station bathroom stall door landed from space. But I think we understand it was in space. They did not go to the moon and come back.
Right.
They, didn't go to a space station for 6 months.
Like, we've all seen those people who, fly up in a plane and then the plane drops fast enough that they get to be weightless for a while. Good for them. I think they just went up to a high part of the atmosphere.
Do you think that it would be a better idea to now interview some of the other women that are not Gayle King and Katy Perry about their experience going up there? Or should they just let this go? It happened last week. Move the F along. It wasn't well received.
I think they should let this go. I mean,
okay.
I think they were trying to get people excited about space. And I do think...
But is this a goal? Is this a thing that's going to be like... This was just to get people aware of it. And now there's going to be an opportunity where you can fill out an application and go, if you're rich, for whatever, $500,000 with 7 other people or $1 million with 7 other people, and go and do this and come back. What was the point of this for Jeff Bezos?
It seems so stupid. I think Jeff Bezos, in the same way he really wanted his Lord of the Rings series that cost billions of dollars, he just wants to get people excited about space because he's a nerd.
What was the Lord of the Rings series?
Amazon has been making a grossly expensive Lord of the Rings series.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's terrible.
Because I'm not into shit like that,
right.
So that's why I don't know.
But he because it was the thing he wanted to do, they have to spend all the money in the world on it. But I just think it's it is a pretty ridiculous waste of resources to spend all of those fossil fuels. I assume it's fossil fuels to send people up into space.
Do you think any of them were paid? There's also rumors of that.
No, I think if you were Gayle King or Katy Perry and it was based on my fame, I can go into space, you would be absolutely yes.
And holding her set piece and her set list. I mean, it was a good way. Look, it's hard to sell tickets these days. Go see Guy Branum because he's really funny.
Yes.
But even for the biggest stars, she probably was well, this is a good way to remind people I'm going on tour. I don't blame her.
She's also been having a rough patch. People have been turning on her.
Yes, this wasn't great. And so
there are a whole lot of Sabrina Carpenters and Chapel Rowans out there.
Yes. Anyway, a couple other things. The windows didn't match, they said, from where they were in the tube to whatever. But I agree with you.
This is what happens from people not having enough highlights for kids in their home. Because it used
to be
magazines. If you were, you would have the thing that's the 2 photos and you figure out what the difference is. And now everyone has to go to everything that is posted on the internet and be that doesn't line up. That's not real.
Okay, so now let's move on here. This was really cute. I don't know who made it. This girl, Lauren, sent it to me, but she's I don't know who made this, but it's the Real Housewives of Uranus.
That's very fun.
And I thought it was really cute. And they're definitely all pretty enough and style enough. And I did love the outfits. This episode of Juicy Scoop is sponsored by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. When it comes to planning travel, it's really specific to what you need for that specific trip. So whether I'm going with the whole family and now I have young adults and maybe they're bringing a special someone, we need to find a place where we can all feel like we can get together but have our separate time alone. That's why I love Booking.com, Booking.yeah. Every time I use Booking.com to find a place to stay in the U.S., I know they'll have exactly what I'm looking for. They have a huge variety of options from hotels to vacation rentals, and I'm always able to find something that fits my specific needs and my family's specific needs. I have found that Booking.com has something for everyone. Maybe you have some teens that need to get out and do their own thing, and you don't want to baby of a place. You want to make sure that they can walk off and maybe go around the corner to shopping or get their own food. Booking.com has all of that. Find exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com, Booking.yeah. You know my beautiful dog, Raven. Well, we recently switched to Spot and Tango because, to be honest, she deserves better, and she is loving it. Spot and Tango's Unkibble is everything regular kibble isn't. It's made with real human-grade ingredients and personalized to what your dog actually needs. It's dry food that you can feel good about, and it's pantry-friendly too. Raven can totally taste the difference with Spot and Tango's Unkibble. It's made with 100% whole fresh ingredients like real USDA meats, fruits, veggies, and it's 40% less expensive than frozen food. Now, Raven was always excited to eat, but I really noticed that there's just a pep in her step. It's created something that's something for her to look forward to, and I feel so much better because I know I'm giving her better food for her body. Upgrade your pet's bowl with Spot and Tango's Unkibble. For a limited time, go to spotandtango.com/juicyscoop and use code JUICYSCOOP to get 50% off your first order. That's spotandtango.com/juicyscoop, code JUICYSCOOP to get 50% off your first order. Spotandtango.com/juicyscoop, code JUICYSCOOP. This episode of Juicy Scoop is brought to you by Legacy Box. You guys know that I recently moved, and I found old videos, like the first time I did stand-up, lots of great photos, of course, and I got Legacy Box, and it made it so easy, and I want to share with you how simple it is. All I did was put those items in the Legacy Box, send it out. It's so affordable. They've thought of everything, and just to preserve your past, it's great. Your memories should be instantly accessible, not hidden away in an outdated format, or maybe in your basement where there could be like a flood or, God forbid, a fire and gone forever. Legacy Box Cloud. With it, you can stream, organize, and share your digitized videos and photos. It's so simple. It's like magic. Send in the Legacy Box filled with all your old tapes, camcorder tapes, pictures, and the team professionally digitizes everything by hand in the USA, and you'll get it all back on the cloud, plus your originals. Check protecting your memories off the spring cleaning to-do list with Legacy Box. Visit legacybox.com/juicy to shop their $9 tape sale and get 90 days free access to Legacy Box Cloud. That's legacybox.com/juicy to unlock this incredible offer. Speaking of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you are an aficionado. How do I say that? Aficionado? How do you say that word?
Aficionado.
Yes. And so we talked a little bit about it. Garcelle, walked off, didn't take the photo, and now has unfollowed everybody. And Sutton spoke to Page Six. And I talked to Sutton at the Masters, and she told me she has not talked to Garcelle. Garcelle won't return her calls. And I was like, well, maybe just give it like a little bit of time and then be like, you want to come over, you want to meet, no TV. But then she unfollowed everybody, which is a real deliberate move because we all know you can just mute people and no one would have to know. So when you do that, you want the fans to know that you unfollowed them.
I mean, she was making a statement. She's been making a statement since the reunion. I just didn't quite understand the statement. Her sort of saying, no one smiled at me. I don't want to answer any questions. I wish there had been a little bit more. I wish I had more understanding of where Garcelle was coming from. I think Garcelle got what she wanted out of her 4 or 5 years on the show. I think she could have gotten more out of it if she had stayed. I thought she was such a great housewife. But yeah, do you have a better understanding?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I think she was pissed at Sutton. I think, and I don't think Sutton was consciously not being the friend that Garcelle expected
Sutton
her to
Stracke
be.
does not have the capacity for loyalty. Sutton Stracke does not have the capacity. She's too much of a narcissist to care about other people enough to be there for them. Sorry for interrupting.
No. I'm just saying I want you to give your opinion.
Yeah.
So now, I have Sutton on the phone on here. I have been friendly with her, but I see what you're saying. I think she definitely really wanted to be friends with Kyle the way a girl that's on a squad wants to be best friends with the head cheerleader, and is like, I don't understand why I was invited to that slumber party. I made everybody brownies. What's the problem? So I think there was a little bit of that, and that's how Garcelle was perceiving it when Garcelle had her back during this whole time where she was seen as you're not supporting women.
Yeah.
And so then when they're sitting at the final reunion and they're like, what was your favorite times of I believe Garcelle said it was going to Sutton's hometown or something.
Yeah.
And meeting the mother. And then Sutton says it was reconnecting with Erica.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think Sutton consciously thought, oh, I want to kiss Erica's ass. I just think she made the mistake in not saying something, catching on that at that point, Garcelle, throughout the 8 hours, was not happy and hurting. She knew she wasn't happy. She talked to her at the lunch break. That she just should have said. I think if she would have said that, I think she would have taken the photo.
Yeah.
She may have still left the show.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would have been this like abrupt, like I'm basically quitting and, I'm taking my stapler.
Her look was incredible.
Incredible. They all looked beautiful, I thought.
Okay. What Kyle thinks she's doing is untenable. Like, I am aware.
Let's talk about the Morgan.
Okay. Yes. Like,
so what did you think? Because I haven't really talked about that. And to fill people in, Andy finally tries to get her to talk about her relationship with Morgan. And she didn't. No. And Kathy's like laughing. It was so weird.
She says she won't talk about Morgan because Morgan doesn't like it. And she's protecting Morgan the way that she would protect her children. And it's like, no, you're fucking not. All of your daughters have been on that show a lot. Also, she's not a fucking child. She's the person that you're dating. You're on a reality show. That's your fucking job. And if you wanted to do light domestic comedy, you should have pretended to stay with Mauricio. There's nothing left on that show. And that relationship is like a cool, juicy, interesting thing. And her believing that she can have that not be part of the show and she can continue to be the center of that show.
And do the sexy music video.
Yes.
Like if you really wanted to keep it secret, you just wouldn't have done that. You would have continued to like dress like Wayne's World, see her at her shows, and just say, I'm super supportive of her music. And we wouldn't have really had a right to continue the rumors. You obviously wanted the rumors out there because you wanted the press, or that Morgan wanted the press, or maybe at the time you were ready to come out and then you sort of changed your mind.
Well, and also,
I don't know.
I think some of it is about firing back at Mauricio. Is sort of like, look at me, I can be doing this too. Well, then fucking do it. Andy Cohen is our greatest journalist. And like him sort of like pushing back at her about like, this has benefited Morgan,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really respect it and appreciate it.
I always said it's like the way Matt Rife, the comedian, said like, I don't want these like these girl fans that think I'm hot. I want to be respected by guys.
Yeah.
However he kind of said that. It's like never shit on any of your audience members. And I kind of feel like she had that moment too. Like I don't want to be the poster child for lesbian country delight that a middle-aged average, demographic of a Housewife Bravo fan loves. And it's like, well, too fucking bad. Women did find your music. They are going to your shows.
Well, also, like,
but she's like, well, now I've got it, so now I don't want to give you any more.
No, like it's really frustrating and not acknowledging the lay of lands, and also, but just like for the structure of the show, Dorit has given us what she can for a whole season. Good for her. Erika Jayne gave us her goddamn life. I mean, picking on Erika Jayne was the show for 3 to 4 seasons, and like. Sutton's little cat sweater dates are not going to give us enough fodder for a season, and Bose's fake fertility journey is not going to either. Like,
what did you hear about her new show with Jimmy Fallon?
Oh no!
So Fallon.
Yes, they're doing like marketing Shark Tank, right?
Yes, I mean, I personally think. Who cares?
Who cares?
I feel like those things are too inside baseball. Even when there's been shows about comedy, about fashion, and if they're too inside, like there was a fashion one about actually the life of a buyer for a department store, like where they judge that, and I thought it was interesting because I had that job at one time. But like, you got to. That's why Selling Sunset does well. Mm-hmm. We don't need to know that the termite report came back suspicious. Wear a tiny skirt and walk around an infinity pool that you're about to fall in. Like, we don't need, like, so I'm like, I don't know that I need to, like, go through, like, oh my God, this was the wrong font for the brand. I don't know. But he likes Bose, and because Bose has had a legit career in marketing, I guess. So she's got that, which, one season and you're already on a regular show, I think could piss off people.
Bose is great. I just need to understand what Warfare next season is going to look like. I know
what it is going to look like, and I'll tell you right now.
All right.
It's already rumbling.
Okay.
That there are some rumors about Bose as not being that great of a corporate executive supporter of women and women of color.
Oh.
So there's disgruntled people.
I mean, how much do I want Garcelle around for that? That's what makes me so sad.
I know.
Because, like, Garcelle, the thing that she really
And also, that's just rumors. That's just alleged, whatever. But,
like,
they're always going to try to find something the next season if you're too beloved, and Bose is beloved.
Garcelle was really smart, but also understood that part of the job is stirring the shit. It was the skill level that Lisa Rinna and Eileen Davidson brought, but from a different perspective. And I loved it on the show, and I'm going to miss it so much.
Well,
just,
what did you think about the line of where Dorit said, "It's not like you're living like the Queen of Sheba. You live on a fucking main road."
My girl has fucking pulled it out this season left and right. You live on a main road. No, I called you a fucking cunt. Like and also understanding that shivving Camille in front of everyone was the right answer.
Shivving, oh my God.
Don't go for one of the main girls who are there. Understand that she is disposable. Like, Sutton's comments about her not being rich enough were so gross and distasteful. Sutton's money just comes from fucking Christian, and she doesn't know where that money comes from, and she spent 3 fucking seasons yelling at Erica about how ill-gotten her gains were. Like, Sutton really gets on my nerves, which is probably part of her job, but I like, Dorit did it, and I just feel like if we
but that's why Dorit, that's why Sutton, regardless of not having a super strong ally in Garcelle, and why she probably was smart enough to realize, no, I need to be close to the other women too.
Yeah.
And she is interesting to watch. She is an interesting personality.
Yes.
We don't want to see her go.
No.
But
anything that gets Jennifer back. Like, Jennifer cannot hold storylines.
Sutton, hi, Sutton.
But she is so wonderful.
She's really fun. And I love her commentary. Like, when she analyzes what's going on in the group, it's sensitive, it's clever, and it's funny.
Yeah.
And it's like a new perspective. So I like it. I think she'll be smart. I don't know that she wants to become a regular. She might just want to. But so someone, I saw videos of someone going by, the main road house. But then also someone went all through the roads to get to Dorit's and Encino. Uh-huh. And it's the opposite of a main road. It's many, 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 many streets in. And then the person's like, wow, this is really tucked away for someone to rob at 10 at night. Who knows? Who knows? It's all interesting. I don't think we will ever know the truth to that one, except what was presented to us in that random robbers came to that house because it's a beautiful house, and they broke in to grab the bags.
Yes.
Anyway, so she's, had a great Easter. Garcelle, she posted with her son and granddaughter and her other son. And, she's got, it'll be fine. It'll be good. Okay. I went to a fun thing. I went to Vanderpump Villa.
Oh, very cool.
That's Stassi. So this is on Hulu. Uh-huh. And she has like a villa that people come and what goes on with the people that work there. Yes. But the second season is Stassi from Vanderpump Rules and her husband, Beau, and their 2 kids live there. But then other people come guests and stuff.
This is south of France, right?
Yes, I think it's in France. Yes. Okay. And then, so this was a really nice luncheon that I went to. So that was fun.
That's lovely. So Andy Cohen has no part of this.
No, this is Hulu.
It makes me happy that Lisa was able to take her brand and go somewhere else. I'm sorry that I should probably watch that show because I kind of miss Lisa and Ken.
Vanderpump Rules is coming back with an all new cast. Uh-huh. So nobody is left over.
Yes.
Which is kind of like Real Housewives of New York. And then you have Real Housewives of Atlanta where it's 2 or 3 oldies and then 4 new. So it's a whole thing, but we'll see.
Getting to see how Gen Z does, hot, drunken, slutty fighting, I would like a little energy from that, from that generation.
You're right. It would be a Gen Z. So then I went to Paris Hilton being honored at LA Magazine, and I was just next to Heather Dubrow, and so my friend took a photo and the Heathers were on the red carpet.
I think Heather is such a great talent.
She looks really good.
Yeah.
Her hair is looking good. She's always classy.
Yes.
She looked great. Paris was fabulous at this event. She was Lovely. She spoke at the end, and I have some exciting news, which I don't know if you might know it, but for me, she announced her book is becoming a series.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Paris's book, which I really loved, which was about her childhood, her the aughts, the antics, whatever. And of course, you could add anything that wasn't in that book. She didn't say who's playing her.
Yeah.
She didn't say what network, but she said it's the biggest and the one you'd want. So I assume it's Netflix.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great idea.
Well, it's just such a fun world to go back to.
Yes.
Like, there's so much anger and uncertainty right now. And I think going back to a time that was just like, well, no, there was also such a rich environment of like young, exciting celebs who were like all in each other's lives.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch American Woman, Kyle's series?
Just a little bit, and I was into it. I just think for whatever reasons, things just, if they don't immediately become a hit, they just don't continue.
It's really hard for comedies in a world of like 8 to 10 episodes. Like things don't really land.
But I think something like this,
yes,
where the audience, it's in the past, but it's not so far in the past that you can have fun with it.
Well, and also
like the reason, like the OJ shows, the Menendez shows, like all that stuff from the 90s, 2000s. I think people are like craving it, and I think you can have a lot of fun with this series in that it doesn't have to be completely your life. They could take 3 boyfriends and make him one boyfriend for 3 seasons. It doesn't have to be that.
There were
but
like
it's Paris
3
doing
separate,
this stuff.
There were like 3 separate Greek shipping airs, I think.
Yeah, she had lots of guys and arrangement, and then she went away for a while. I remember I ran in when we were doing Chelsea Lately, like Kathy Hilton was talking to me, and I'm like, what is Paris up to? Because it seemed like the Kardashians had taken her spot. And she's like, she's got all these clothing lines, and China loves her and Japan loves her. And so she also is doing her 30th fragrance.
If I were doing this show,
yes,
I would make
Maybe they'll call you.
I would make it all about the girl who organizes her closets becoming, like, eclipsing her. Like, I would make it a little all about Eve.
Well, that could be one season.
Yes.
Like there could be several players and things like that. And then you have the Faye Resnick, who was friends with both Chris and Kathy Hilton.
Yeah.
And was the interior designer for Kathy Hilton. And then when the Kardashians took off, she felt she needed to have loyalty to Kathy Hilton until one day she called Kris Jenner, and Kris Jenner said, all right, come over. And they made up, and now they're all friends again. And so are Paris and Kim. It's very juicy and interesting.
I'm sorry. I know a lot of Faye Resnicks. Would this be the morally corrupt Faye Resnick?
Yes, it is. With the perfect face and body, who's still stunning today.
She hasn't shown up in so long, and I miss a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills where Faye Resnick shows up, because you're like, this is going to be a good episode. She's never going to shift higher than 3rd gear, but she will make shit happen.
And the thing is, the reason why she's such good friends with Kyle, Kathy Hilton, and Kris Jenner is I've hung out with her. She really is a very happy, good time, fun friend. And interesting. So it's like, that's the friend you want to keep around.
She's married to an athlete?
No, she had her husband now. Kris Jenner married them. He's good looking. He's just like, I think he might just be a businessman or something. But they've been married a while now. And like, she's a grandma. Like, she has a daughter who's like Chloe's age. So she's got like a 5-year-old grandchild. And like, she's loving life, looking great. Okay, so The Valley.
Yes.
Premiered.
Yes.
I want to hear, now, you didn't watch it last season, but I gave you an assignment to watch it just so we could discuss.
So the thing is my experience of Vanderpump Rules is just the backdoor pilot from like season 3 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But like, I was immediately like, this show is amazing. And like, I do think that Jax, like, when he was hot bartender just fucking everything that he could and making all trouble, he was so hot and compelling to me. But him as 45-year-old old goat still doing the same thing is just as hot to me. And I was a little bit, the extent to which some of the play pieces within this game are 4-year-olds made me feel
actual 4-year-olds.
Actual 4-year-olds made me feel a little uncomfortable. And also it's weird.
Oh, because it's because we are watching divorce and custody and things like that.
And like, well, what if I decide I want to go to Newport Beach?
Oh, that whole thing. I did a video right after that a lot of people resonated with, where I was like, the thing that bothered me about it, I'll just explain that part just because you brought it up. There's this guy, Jesse, and he's a realtor, and he's got a wife named Michelle, and they broke up at the end of last season, and they are going through divorce, and they have a 4-year-old daughter. And she says, she goes up to him at Brittany's event, and she goes, anyway, so I talked to this woman who helps consult with LA schools for whatever the daughter's name is. And he goes, why would you do that without me? I'm like, she didn't enroll the kid without you. Yes. She just said, hey, I'm talking to somebody. And like, we could, like, she was being, to me, I thought she wasn't trying to usurp his power. Okay.
Right.
And then he's like, I don't know that I even want her to go to school in LA. Maybe she'll go to school in Orange County because he's dating this girl in Orange County. And I could feel her anxiety as a mom with a 4-year-old daughter, where you're like, we don't get along, but moving to a whole nother county that would be 2 hours away and possibly not being in my daughter's life on a daily basis or having to move was never what I thought I'd be at. And it's like, and then he goes, why are you kidding? You're getting aggressive. And then they ask him, and they're like, are you really thinking about it? He's like, no, let the chaos begin. And I was like, to see a guy, and the comments under there were like, it's always the father that didn't watch the kid while you took a shower for 10 minutes, that then in the divorce is fighting for 50-50. Like, it just was triggering that he was showing his cards to the producer.
Yeah.
And I know women do this to men too, and it's really unfair, and it sucks. And that's why people choose to have maybe children on their own or whatever, because you can't move to different counties when you feel like it if you're sharing custody. But that made me crazy. Okay, so continue what your other thoughts are.
Well, and also it's weird to go into a show like this not knowing the lay of the land, because the woman, is her named Janet?
Janet. So let me tell you the history of Janet.
Yes.
Janet came to LA, saw Sheena Shea at a party, became friends with her. The next day, Sheena was like, we're going to Disneyland. Do you want to come? She came. They were friends. She was a personal assistant, like executive assistant, became friends with her, and then became part of the friend group. And so then when casting it, she did great in the interviews, and she's really friends with them, and she has a cute husband, and that's why she's on the show. It's kind of an amazing...
People who incept their way on to Bravo shows, very
impressive.
Genius.
It's pretty genius.
But I hated her so much. The question of fake apologizing and the question of the people who willed miscarriage upon her, it was like, it's so funny because from a distance, I'm just like, it's hilarious that she's like, you're willing miscarriage upon me. But
wait, and let's just explain what that was. So the way I understood it as, there's this guy, I forgot his name.
It's a gay guy. Is his name Zach?
Zach.
Yeah.
Zach, and he's very funny.
Yes.
And he came with Brittany when she came on my show years ago when she was planning her wedding to Jax.
Yeah.
So they go way back. So it's completely appropriate that he's on the show. All these friendships are real. These were not cast like, So he's there, and he was really hurt because Janet had an event last season in like Big Bear, a baby moon, and she got mad at him, and she didn't invite him or Kristen. And it's not just not inviting. It's like, now I'm not on camera for 3 days. Now I'm not part of something. Now I'm going to be talked about. And it just really made him mad. So I guess he went on a podcast or said he said something to somebody, and then she repeated it, Janet, on the podcast, that she believed that he said, I don't care what happens with her pregnancy or something. And by saying, I don't care what happens with her pregnancy, I believe then she interpreted it as that he was wishing a miscarriage on her. It was a reach, in my opinion.
I mean, I didn't know how concrete that was, because I was wondering, Zach and the other woman who she was mad at, I forget her name. Kristen. I was like, maybe these are real terrible people, but it was hilarious that this one was like, I was so stressed out because you said that you hoped I didn't carry my baby to term.
It was a stretch. And to Kristen, who was actively trying to get pregnant the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And is like, in her early 40s. So it's a challenge. She was like, I would never say that. She goes, fine, well, maybe your friend said it. And it was just weird. So I get all that. How do you feel about what we're going to see this season with like wait, who else you want to talk about? I
want your impression of the woman who is up top there, because her speaking voice is hilarious.
Okay, well, they are just, again, a perfect, This is a perfect cast, in my opinion.
Yes.
Because he was like a child star.
Oh, really?
He was a child actor and still an actor, and he's like a big voiceover actor.
Uh-huh.
She was second runner-up in like Miss America.
Wonderful. Her being like, oh, my body is destroyed now. Hilarious.
But I want to have one more.
Yes.
And then it'll be my body. And that he wants to go to Santa Clarita. And like, I think they're a good addition to the friend group.
Him talking about how great Santa Clarita was really funny.
The way they really have great editors, and it's really funny. And, the sad part is the Jackson, the Brittany, we will watch some ugliness this season.
It's so hard. Like, it's just so different, like distant from me, the whole notion of like, God, I don't want to be that guy who flies off the handle, but I have to fly off the handle. Like,
I just want to say, go back and watch Vanderpump Rules from the Stassi years and stuff. Because there is a scene that is sad and crazy, but people, are putting it comes in my feed. And it's Jax cheated on Brittany before they were engaged, but they were like living together, I think. Cheated on her with this other woman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to say her name because there's been a lot of legal stuff, but cheated on this other woman. She recorded them, gave it to one of the other cast members, and they had the audio of him speaking poorly of Brittany.
Oh.
And so they're all having a party in one of the apartments. This is how long ago it was. They're all doing shots for hours with the cameras. The guys are doing shots, the girls are doing, and somehow it comes up and they're all drunk and and Brittany's like, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. And she listens to it. And that's when she's like, rot in hell, Jax Taylor, rot in hell. And all the girls are like, getting upset. All the guys go down the hall to the other guy's apartment.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, shit. And they're left there with James Kennedy. And he's like, you guys can't, gang up on him. And Lala's like, are you fucking kidding me? For once, the girls can be console her. And then he goes, the camera work is so good. And he's like, ah! And he's like running with his legs. He's kind of skinny. He's running out. And the girls are all screaming, gathering around her. And they're all buzzed. And they're all, it's amazing. But then also I'm like, the thing about where I feel for Brittany, being that she's been on the show for 15 years.
Yeah.
It's like, a lot of people get divorced. A lot of women get divorced. And they look back and they're like, I should have known that. I should have known that. The red flag. You literally could have watched it back.
Right.
You could have watched it back before you walked down the aisle. You could have, and maybe not believed when he's like, I'm a changed man. You were there for when my dad died. And for that, I feel for her because this is her life. This is her livelihood. There's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube. But at the same time, like you literally had it in black and white. You were watching yourself in a movie, like a Black Mirror episode. You could actually have watched it.
But it's also so clear why they are attracted to each other and why they keep going back to each other. And I do kind of love that. It's like
they're not ever going to get back together.
Oh, yes, but they will fuck again.
It sounds like they might because he keeps insinuating that like she wanted to hook up and stuff like that. And she's like, oh my God, Jax. No, I didn't. Like it. We'll see. But I think that she is officially done. I think she's at a point of her life as a mother that she's done. Yeah, you
got a fucking 3-year-old, and you got to. Well, and also they have the podcast together. Now
they have officially split off the podcast.
Oh, okay.
But while they were separated going this, they were still like recording together.
Yeah.
Now he has his own, and she took over the one that was already established.
Yeah.
Every single one of them has a podcast, which is fine. We all can have one, not for everybody. Post Malone had a baby a couple years ago, and he has filed for custody in Utah, and the girl filed in Los Angeles, California, and apparently people believe because California would require more money and it's more expensive and, but he did it in Utah because it might favor him or something.
When a celebrity man applies for full custody of their child, it is clearly in no way about their child support commitments and is about their love of playing Polly Pocket with her.
Of course. He wants to do her hair.
He wants to do her hair. He wants to teach her letters.
Yeah.
No, it is like,
and it's like,
so transparent.
And it's like, dude, like, what are you going to say? That she spends too much time at Pilates? you are a musician on the road. Like, I get that you're pissed or whatever, but come on, you're
No, you want to know who the real assholes here are here. It's Post Malone's attorneys, because Post Malone is famous for having face tattoos. There is not a judge on this goddamn planet, especially not in fucking Utah, who's going to give him full custody. It's just also, like, honestly, it's not fair, but a woman being denied any level of custody really requires a pretty significant level of dereliction of responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, but his lawyers are going to be able to bill him for hundreds of hours for this.
I will say it can happen sometimes when people are that rich and powerful.
Yeah.
It really can, and that's what's really scary. So who knows? Hopefully they'll come to their senses and figure out something that's
but also,
amicable.
we need to understand the fucking rules. If you have a child with a professional athlete, you get money for 18 years.
Right.
Like, we all
remember the Jamie Foxx song.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, love Post Malone's music. Find him to be a delight. We don't know all the moving parts. We don't know why he feels that this is to be, but it's a nightmare. Sister Wives is back at last. And while the Browns have gone their own separate ways, that doesn't mean that they're done with each other. Mary and Janelle are looking for love and land, but first form an unlikely alliance. Janelle is also hanging with her bestie, Christine, who's off living in newly married bliss. And Cody and Robin are all that's left out there on Coyote Pass, wondering, can they be happy in a monogamous relationship? And after all the joy and the drama, they hit the tell-all hot seat and must answer the questions we've been begging to know, and maybe just serving up some spicy answers of their own. Has Cody zenned out? Is Robin owning her moment? Have Mary and Janelle finally found a special someone? And you know Christine isn't going to hold anything back. You have got to catch Sister Wives, all new Sunday at 10 on TLC. Sister Wives, all new Sunday at 10 on TLC. I know getting your hands on Ozempic or Wegovy might be difficult. You don't know where to start. And it can be a big hassle. Maybe you're negotiating with your insurance provider. Will they cover it? Where do I go for it? That's what I love about RHOBH. This is how RHOBH works. RHOBH's insurance checker lets you know if you're covered for GLP-1s, and that part is free. RHOBH can help you understand if GLPs like Ozempic or Wegovy are right for you and your goals, but that's just the beginning. If you are eligible for GLP-1s and want to see if you're covered, all you have to do is submit your insurance card and RHOBH will take care of the rest. No paperwork, no negotiating, no waiting on hold. RHOBH's free insurance checker will send you a comprehensive report of your coverage details so that you can make a decision that's right for you, your goals, and your budget. Go to ro.co/Juicy Scoop for your free insurance check. That's ro.co/Juicy Scoop to see if your insurance covers GLP-1s for free. Go to ro.co/safety for black box warning and full safety information about GLP-1 medications. New love, Liz Hurley. Beautiful model actress, was dating Hugh Grant when he picked up Desiree, the streetwalker.
But is still his best friend now.
They're still friendly.
They're still
best friends, really?
She on Graham Norton. Graham Norton, after Andy Cohen, our second greatest journalist.
Yes.
She said they're best friends and they talk to each other every day, but also like they could never get back together. And I really love that.
Well, now she's with Billy Ray Cyrus. Her son is a model. I believe he's out gay. He has the most gorgeous face I've ever seen.
He's luminously beautiful. That's a child who should be a model.
There was one time early on where she was seen like embracing him or kissing him, and people were like, "Oh my God, who's this like young hot guy?" It was her son.
Yes,
but they're very, very close. Anyway, she posted them together on Easter. He has bunny ears on. They're like, it looks like they're at like a farm. Her friends were hearting it. The son hearted it, so they seem to like him.
I trust.
It's a weird match, but who knows?
It is, but
it's slim pickings after 50 people.
Yes, and also once you've been in celebrity world for that long, you're all the same thing, and you're all just cruising around in the same world. And I also think, it's like Elizabeth Hurley has already married the like responsible businessman who will take care of the children for you. And
Right, that's who she had these kids
yes,
with. Yeah.
and now like I think it is time to cruise along. Do this for 2 or 3 years.
Have fun with
Hang
it.
out with Miley,
I know.
I don't
You know the juice behind the mom.
What?
Okay, so Miley's mom married this guy
Uh-huh.
who was dating Miley's sister Noah
No, really?
for a while before then they got together.
That is.
And then he married. And that's why I want to say Trace Cyrus and Noah didn't go to the wedding of the mother, but Miley went. So I'm curious how Miley will like Liz Hurley. I don't know what there isn't to like.
I think
I think they'd get along.
Liz Hurley will know how to manage her. And I just love, there's like a certain set of the supermodels from the 90s who just have been the most beautiful and the richest, and they're never going to do anything that they don't want to do. And it makes me so happy.
I love it. Okay. Also, according to the Neighborhood Talk, which is a Instagram and news source, whatever, that I follow, allegedly, they're looking to redo The Bodyguard, which was Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner, where he was actually her bodyguard and she was a version of herself and they fall in love. And, it was Enna, it was that song. And we all loved it. And they've talked about redoing this many times with other up-and-coming singers, Taylor Swift, whatever. And now they're saying the talk is to maybe make it Kim Kardashian, which it wouldn't have to be a musical. It wouldn't have to be a singing thing. The storyline of a big star falling in love with her bodyguard is great. And I think it can be many versions of it.
We love making shitty, colorless remakes of movies that were good before. We've been doing it a lot over the last 20 years. And I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to do it. I think that her publicists are the hardest working people in Hollywood. And I would love to be in on that pitch meeting. Like, the wonderful thing about a story like this is she doesn't have to lift a finger. She doesn't have to go to her law school classes. Yeah. Like, they just send this out and we talk about it. But I literally don't think you can make a remake of The Bodyguard after Whitney Houston and not have it be a singer who sings an iconic song. I mean,
I agree. I want to see it a singer. It doesn't have to be a famous singer, though. It could just be someone who, like an up-and-coming singer, and we just sort of take a little bit of Adele's life, like maybe she's a single mom, a little bit of a Taylor Swift thing with young kids following her. Like, you could create a fake person and then just put a girl that actually can act and sing that's maybe not at the level of an Adele.
It's sort of like A Star Is Born. Like, at this point in time, A Star Is Born has been
done 4 times, I think.
Yes, but it's been Judy and then Barbara and then Lady Gaga. It has to be a singer of that level. Adele, I think, is a really brilliant idea. One of the things that makes me saddest in show business is that Adele will never be hard up enough for money that she will host a game show. And I think Adele has the skill set where she can. I truly think the magic of still having the fat girl inside, but having the body that she always dreamed of is perfect. I love her so much. But I want to see Adele act. Like, I think
she has the most gorgeous face.
She has the most gorgeous face. And also, like, she's a real person.
And she's funny. Like, she talks on stage. Like, she definitely,
if you find the right role for her, if you find something that is sculpted and built for her, like, she could be the loveliest.
Now, since you brought it up, the fat girl inside.
Yeah.
Being that a lot of people are now thin and have the ability to be thin pretty easily.
Yeah.
Do you think that does haunt people? Like, how do you feel? Where do you think Kelly Clarkson is in her journey of one time being a curvier girl and now is like a size 4 too?
I think there's something when people have had to always have this thing in their brain yelling at them, to have that thing removed and just be able to live their life on other terms, I think is really liberating for them.
Fabulous. I agree.
And so I like that. There are, I have a complex relationship with weight and with my own weight. And there are people who, I see do it and I'm like, but I love them so much for who they were before. But I don't know, to me, Adele is someone who just lives in her own honesty, and I have so much respect for that.
Yeah. Now, Lizzo was someone that was really known for body positivity and really was like the leader of that time. I had predicted that the minute I heard about Ozempic, I'm like, watch, Lizzo's going to get on it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I just could tell like her personality, she would want to explore that. She's gorgeous no matter what size she is. She's talented no matter what size. She came in some heat because she had these dancers suing her.
Yeah.
I guess that is away. I guess they dropped out when she they started to feel the heat that maybe they didn't have the evidence. And now she's thin or thinner. I mean, whatever. She's lost a lot of weight. She looks great. And it's like people hated her so much that she was confident and curvy. And now a different group of people hate her for they see her as abandoning the confident and curvy. It's like, this chick just can't do anything right in the eyes of certain people.
A couple of things. The first one is Roxane Gay, I believe, got weight loss surgery. And she was like, don't fucking talk to me.
Who's Roxane Gay?
Roxane Gay is a really well-known writer. She wrote Bad Feminist. She's really, really smart and great. And she is like 6'2" and large.
Okay.
And she was basically like, you don't have to go through, like, don't fucking talk to me about this. This is not about me not respecting fatness or, believing that fat people should have more rights. It's just trying to, like, exist in the world a little more easily in a world that isn't built for me. But I also, when I worked for Totally Biased at W. Kamau Bell, we were in a meeting and there were like guys talking about Chris Rock's hair documentary and sort of like a bunch of men talking about how dumb and terrible it was that Black women process their hair because they should be able to love their natural hair. And they left the room. And all that was left in the room after that was me and Black women who were really fucking annoyed with people having opinions about what they should be doing with their hair. And what they said to me was basically like, I do not have control over my hair until I have control of it under all circumstances where I am able to make these choices. And so as a fat person, I think people being able to have more control over that, it is hard that it is so financially discriminatory. It is really hard that it is something that only some people have access to. And I hope it doesn't push back our conversations about being able to accept more people under the terms that the Lord made them.
Yeah.
But I think just behaving, and nothing makes me madder than when wealthy people lose weight and then talk shit about what a busted and weak and pathetic person they were back when they were fat. It's like no one would choose to be extremely fat. Like, it is not a result of personal weakness. It is a result of bodies being different, you know?
And a lot of people that struggle with their weights had what they called an almond mom. Do you understand what an almond mom is?
Of course I understand what an almond mom is.
I don't know that everybody does. It's really fascinating.
But you, of course, know that my two favorite articles in women's magazines are Right Jeans for Your Body Type and How to Healthfully Snack for the Holidays. And,
handful of almonds.
Instead of a latke, have 5 almonds.
Yes.
Instead of a Christmas cookie, have a cube of cheese.
Yeah, and all the things that, your mom said to you that then screwed you up, and then you might have been a different parent to your child and probably not been enough of that. And then there's people there's almond grandmothers that then produced a mom that then maybe was like, have whatever you want to their daughter. And then that daughter's like, I wish you would have taught me how to eat better. Like, it's just a constant cycle that it's hard.
Trying to not communicate your own damage to the person you are raising is really, really hard.
Yeah.
And also understanding the politicization of the science around these things. It's like when we were young, people were like, be healthy. Eat nothing but white rice.
Yes.
You know?
And I remember, white rice. And then I would have like a baked potato for dinner. Like,
yes.
Or all the fat-free cookies and the sugar-free and all that crap. Now it's like, no, just eat like real food And, it's just crazy. But wait, I want to ask because like, people are going to kill me if I don't ask.
Yes.
You were on Jeopardy.
So I just try out for Jeopardy every year since they've
really?
Since they've had the at home thing. But I always say that I'm from Los Angeles. I probably would have gotten on sooner if I said I was from the little hometown that I'm from.
Oh.
But I always wanted to represent West Hollywood.
Okay.
And once they started having Celebrity Jeopardy, my manager also represents Joel Kim Booster, who was on Celebrity Jeopardy. And so I was like, can you get me on Celebrity Jeopardy? And he was like, they don't want you. And so
really?
That made me sad. But then after Ike Barinholtz...
So as a kid, you are such a wealth of knowledge. You are smart, naturally smart, but you also are book smart.
Yes.
So was that something that you would watch growing up all the time and know all the answers?
I watch it with my family, and then I did competitive trivia when I was in college, and I really, really loved it. Okay. And I love going and doing pub trivia at the Gay Barn now.
Okay.
But after the things that... So I always did it in February. And then this year, Ike Barinholtz won Celebrity Jeopardy, and then he did really well in the Tournament of Champions up against real players. And I was like, I want to do that. And then I saw a thing where Emma Stone was like, I don't want to do Celebrity Jeopardy. I want to do Real Jeopardy. And I was like, I want to get on Real Jeopardy. So I took the test, and this year they called me, or I guess last year they called me.
What's the test like?
The test is 50 questions, and it's just sort of the questions that you would see on Jeopardy.
You just do it online?
Yeah. You just type it in. There's a timer. I remember I missed a question about where the crawdads sing.
That book?
Yeah, contemporary.
Wait, do you remember? Let me see if I know it.
I forget what it was. Just it said the name of the author and that.
You would have had to know the title of it. Okay, got it.
So I did that, and then a couple of months later, I got an email saying, well, will you take the test again? But they do it a second time, but they have somebody monitor to make sure you're not cheating. And then they do one where they chit chat with you to make sure that you're able to tell an anecdote and perform under stress. And then finally, at the end of last year, they called me and were like, would you come in and be a standby for one day and then come in and actually do it 2 weeks later? And I said, sure. And then I went and I was on Jeopardy. And
what was the result? So
the whole day that I was there as a standby, I was watching this guy who was winning all day long. And I was like, I think I could beat him. And then we went, and when I came back for the real day, I got picked for the first game. And I went into the first game, and I did end up beating the guy who was the returning champion. Unfortunately, the guy who was on the other side of me and was taller than I was.
How could that be?
I know. Ended up having more money going into final. He beat me. Okay. But we both beat the returning champion. So that made me happy. And it was close.
So then you didn't leave with anything?
You get $3,000 for coming in second.
Okay.
But also there is a thing now called the Second Chances Tournament, where people who have performed well in a game against two champions or who have very good stats get to come back. And so I have hope that...
Is there anything that the fans can do, the Juicy Scoopers can do to get you back on?
I mean, if you wanted to email Jeopardy and say, we loved Guy Branum, he was so great, we would love to see him in Second Chances. I mean, I wouldn't be mad about that.
Okay, I love it. Do you know what's going on with Wendy? Latest.
I mean, is she under a conservatorship? Is that her and Dawn?
Yeah, they're good friends.
I love Dawn.
I was on a round table with him on her show.
How is she doing?
So I just saw a quick video of her.
Uh-huh.
She seemed completely fine. She's sitting in a car, and she's like, I always did my banking at Wells Fargo myself. I don't understand why I can't have access. I, had to fire this person and hire this person. And I just want that freedom. I think it's really confusing for everybody, how she ended up in the place of the person that we saw in the documentary, because that doesn't appear to be her now. Thank goodness. She seems way more with it. I don't know if it was just alcohol that we saw, and maybe it wasn't dementia. Maybe it was, I don't know, but she doesn't seem like she has dementia or Alzheimer's or anything, and it's insane.
Mental health and mental acuity are so hard, and I do understand it can come and go. I just really would hope and wish that that judges are taking seriously their responsibility to put people in the care of people who will take care of them, and not fucking Jamie Spears,
I know, it's just it's crazy. So speaking of that, wait, I want to go to I'll just say Jamie Spears. Britney is back wearing her brown sensible pumps out on the streets of Mexico, which is always a concern of mine. Why she loves those shoes so much. Then also there's speaking of child stars, there is, where's our girl? Amanda Bynes is joining OnlyFans, but she said there's not going to be any sexual stuff, but she'll just talk to her fans. So if you're curious about it, join her, give her things. She's also like a nail tech. The way she talks is very strange, how she uses social media. And
it's sad.
Just so sad.
She was so funny. She was so talented. And, it's really unfortunate that there weren't people there to take better care of her.
And you said you were watching a doc about the Glee show.
Yeah, on Max there is a doc about, it's called like The Price of Glee. And it's basically just about, the fact 3 of the core cast members are dead now. And, what a simply ridiculous set of responsibilities they put on those children.
Like what? What stood out to you?
So they're not just on a show, they're also on a show where they're having to be recording 1 to 3 songs every week and learning choreography. And then they figured out that it was a gold mine. So they shot 22 episodes and then they sent them on tour for the whole summer. And so it was, for so many of those kids, the opportunity to make all of this money, but also no time or space. And by kids, I mean, most of them were in their early 20s. They were young adults, but that there was nobody there sort of like caring for them or, worrying about their mental health and their capacity to deal with it. I don't know. Like, we know so many of those people who are the super pro young performers. You have seen them and it's like always impressive and you're proud of them. But I think having somebody there who can, say, this is not an adult, this is not a full grown adult.
Right. I mean, that's interesting, and with the Glee, because of course we've seen the Nickelodeon special and then right now on Netflix, there's a 3-part series called Bad Influence. That was the story of this woman, Tiffany, whose daughter was named Piper Rockefeller. And she was big on YouTube. And Tiffany and her younger boyfriend, Hunter, were in charge of filming it all. And then they'd bring in other kids. Some were people they knew, other single moms. And then they would have these squads. And it kind of exploded during COVID. And it was sort of like their own version of Friends. But as they got older, they would be like, now that you guys are going to be a new relationship, you're going to be, Dan and Melissa are going to be Delissa or whatever. And they would do this whole thing and they would put it in the YouTube thumbnail. And then they were also, because it was YouTube, there were no rules of teachers or anything. And they were working them for all these hours. And the kids were like, this isn't fun anymore. They're getting older. So if they did leave, they'd already had then they would get their own YouTube channel. Yeah. But then when they would go leave, then they would show the Piper and the rest of the kids, so Melissa's gone and we're going to unfollow her. And they'd make a video and there would be Melissa at home watching all of her friends and her young boyfriend unfollow her. And then the Hunter, allegedly Hunter and the mom, Tiffany, because they helped establish their YouTube channels, were able to like tank them. Yeah. So then they didn't have that anymore. And then there were sexual abuse accusations as well.
I mean, it's so troubling that all of this social media stuff has none of those legal protections. There is, a lot of these people are working their children, or at least monetizing their children. Moses Storm is a very funny comic, and he has an HBO special. But the best thing about it is he posts, his mom decided that they were going to get money from America's Funniest Home Videos. And so he posts like the raw footage of his mom trying to get him to knock an egg off onto his sister's head. And it is just like, 30 years beforehand, what people are doing now. And it makes me feel weird because I don't care about dogs or cats. I like a toddler. And so there are so many accounts. Like there is this Orthodox Jewish labor and delivery nurse with 5 daughters who I am obsessed with. And like other people are like, they don't like that this person is posting, monetizing videos where she shows her daughters and stuff like that. I think it's so fun and funny, but I also understand feeling weird about it, you know?
Well, it's like, so we got an agent, Iris Burton, and really my sister Shannon is the one that booked all the stuff.
Yes.
And back then, I guess there was a lot more money in commercials and things like that because there's only like 5 channels. So everyone would see her Bold 3 commercial, you know, in her little face, whatever. And so then she said, Mom, everyone's asking me how much I make on these commercials at school. And my mom, I don't think, gave her great advice. She said, just say a lot. Okay, so my sister, who's pretty sweet and wasn't at all sassy at the time, they're like, oh, you think you're a star? You know, whatever. I think she's got to be bullied. How's she making? She goes, I turned around a lot. And that didn't help the bullying or anything. Yes. And but they did make money from it. And I look back and, you know, we got an addition to our house.
Yeah.
And they paid for her college, but she had to pay for her own law school. And I'm like, I mean, what is she going to do? What was she going to do like 10 years later? Wait, Mom, you shouldn't be paying for Heather's school. Like, I'm the one that made, I mean, there's no way, like the account, even though there was those Coogan laws and stuff, there's no way to like prove. And she got a car. She got to go to private college. I mean, there wasn't anything like that, but like.
I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago with my friend Tess Barker where we did a deep dive on the Olsen twins. That was really, really great.
Yeah.
She's actually one of the podcasters who sort of like made people aware of what was going on with Britney and was like very much involved in getting Britney free.
Yeah.
An amazing person. But just that thought of just thinking about the Olsen twins were like 9 when that show was done.
And started with their babies.
Most of the time they were there, they were not forming permanent memories.
Yeah.
And it's just so weird to be like, what's the exchange of having your childhood entirely stolen from you? But in exchange, you do start out with $1 billion, you know?
I think what's lovely is a child that actually is a twin.
Yeah.
That has someone else.
Yeah.
And parents that obviously did it right.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's always bad. I do think we need child actors to tell stories, but it is a very fucked up, risky thing. I mean, I think the way my sister did it, my niece did it, was good because it wasn't like they were on a series. Well, but at the same time, like, I'm looking back and I'm like,
a fair amount of, like, I know so many LA people who just did LA levels of child acting and they were like semi-involved, but they still had a life. And it's also really interesting. I like watch a lot of shows that ran for 1 season or did a pilot and nothing else. And there's something interesting about those kids like Kyle Richards who were like in the mix, but not everywhere. You know, she's like a different situation because her sister was like famous, you know?
The sister Kim became very famous and you know, and it is interesting, you know, because Kathy was older and Kathy was getting the stuff. Kathy was like the beautiful baby model. And then Kim it just started to hit, just kind of like with my sister. Like it was that blonde, blue-eyed look. They just like wanted that. They did not want the brown-haired, brown-eyed, whatever. And I remember like going all the way to an audition, okay? And my mom had to take me out of school and drive there. And by the time we got there, I was just really tired. And then I'd be at home and I'd be like doing characters and dancing. And my mom would be like, why? And she would say, why can't you be like that when I take you to Hollywood? You know, that wasted so much of my time. And I remember immediately feeling really, really bad that I fucked up. And it was then that I started to realize that I'm not just going to do a fun thing. I'm wasting my mother's time if I don't get this job.
I mean, that's terrible. And I do think there needs to be more time for children to play, to be bored. You know, I do think the different children that I know and the different relationships to screens are really funny and interesting to me because I do think having time when you're not being entertained and have to entertain yourself is really important to making an interesting person.
Yeah.
And like you shouldn't, us being adults who have monetized our charm is weird enough. You know what I mean? That like us being interesting and engaging people is kind of what we sell. Is like weird for just negotiating the rest of life, understanding what on and off is, let alone a fucking child. you know?
Yeah. It's very interesting. Now, Guy, remind everybody again where they can follow you. You're such a beloved Juicy Scoop guest.
Thank you for having me. I'm at Guy Branum on Instagram and most social media. I am at Guy Branum Comedy on TikTok. And please, if you are in Chicago on May 5th, if you are in Minneapolis.
Where in Chicago? What's the theater?
The Den Theater.
Beautiful.
In Minneapolis on May 7th. San Francisco at Club Fugazi on May 19th. Alligator Theater in Seattle on May 21st.
So tell us a little what the show is. Are you telling just juicy stories? Are you telling stand-up? It's a little combo?
So it's a solo show. It's a solo
Great.
show that is like ostensibly a TED Talk where I'm explaining that there's no reason for my life because I am a clinically obese gay man. And I examine it from the perspective of religion and the perspective of science and evolution. And then I sort of use that as a way to tell some stories from like, you're a really good storyteller. I am like much more a like logic and one-liner kind of guy. But I use it to sort of explain why I'm not comfortable telling stories about my life and then force myself to tell some uncomfortable stories about my life.
I love it.
Yes.
You're so funny and so entertaining. And everyone go see his show. And thank you. Go check out me, HeatherMcDonald.net, and join my Patreon because that's everybody's favorite thing. Thank you. Love you. Bye.